Hey, everybody, welcome to the third annual CSharpCorner Code Quality Conference. I didn't know that video was going to be that short. And I'm really excited to, bring this conference to you for the third time. This conference has been an idea of mine for actually a really long time. And because code quality sessions are one of the things I see missing from other conferences, especially the super big ones. And so I've always wanted to do this in person, but C Sharp Corner is allowing me to do it online. And so I'm really great. The last two conferences we've had has been watched by over 90,000. It has had over 90,000 views, which I think is awesome. Code quality is super important. So I'm glad some people are getting that and watching. And if you have watched the conference before, I'm glad you're back. If this is the first time, welcome. I hope you stick around and watch the whole thing. It's going to be an awesome day. We have lots of great speakers. We have lots of great sessions, and it's just going to be a day chock full of code quality, so you can take it back to your team and implement it so you can have better quality code and don't get called in the middle of the night to come fix something, right? Or the airlines don't go down or something like that. So anyway, welcome. It's I'm really excited, even though it's super early where I am. I want to bring up the Voice of Slum. If you guys have been following me, the Voice of Slum is super important, and I raise money and for the Voice of Slum. And so during this conference, I want to bring up the Voice of Slum. I hope that you will go and donate. There's the link right there. The two founders who run the Voice of Slum do an awesome job. That picture right there is me and Joe and Magnus, actually last October, when we visited the Voice of Slum and brought them computers that they needed and hung out with the kids. They sang some songs for us and I think some poems, if I'm correct. And it was really great to see them after being, shut down with COVID. I really missed going back and seeing the kids and seeing all the great work that Dave and Chandy is doing there. And so, we're software engineers and we can help. And so you just got to go to that link. And there's lots of ways to help. You can donate money. You can buy school supplies for the kids. You can buy clothing for the kids, and lots of other things. So I know times are tough these days, especially coming out of COVID. But I think we're all software engineers and we have the ability to give. So I hope you really will go help me help the kids from the slums in Delhi, India, and go donate whatever you can to the conference today. So I really, really appreciate it. Next thing, I want to promote my show. So twice a month now, we host the Rock in a Code World with Donna Dave. That's me. On this same platform, and we have up to 18,000 people watch every episode. And I bring industry leaders from around the world twice a month to share their knowledge and bring some fun to our world. And actually, one of my favorite people are going to be on next week, Carl Franklin. I've known Carl Franklin since the 90s. We've played guitar together. We've hung out together. He's not only is he wicked smart, but he's also a really nice guy. And I can't wait to catch up with him because I think I saw him last year, but it's too long. And so I can't wait to have Carl back on the show. So I hope you come and watch the show next week. So I want to talk a little bit about code quality, especially since most of the contracts I've been working on, this is basically what I've been doing is fixing their code because they have a lot of issues, and we'll be talking about that throughout this conference. But most projects I join have like tens and thousands of code violations via the editor config and the analyzers in Visual Studio. And they and the way that projects are run, it's hard to go back and fix these issues, and so it's really, really important that you fix the issues as they happen or as you're coding them. And the editor config with the analyzers really help you with that. We're going to be talking about more things during this conference, but we really have to work on the quality of the apps, and that's why this conference is so important to me, is that, I see a lot of quality of apps, even mobile apps that I use, on a regular basis, not, having quality issues with every release. And I'm not sure why. And so, this is why I wanted to bring this conference to you all. So, we can, make sure this gets better. And so we can have better apps because, in the end, we want to write apps that users love, right? That's, at least for me, that's what I love to do is, when I see the user's eyes light up, that to me is success. It's not money. It's not, getting awards or anything like that. I work for the users. I'm there for them. And when I see their eyes light up and when they're happy and when I call them and they don't have any complaints about the software, that's when I've succeeded. And so, we have to be thinking about this, before we even sit down and start writing code. Quality has to be at the very, very, very beginning stages of the project, and even during the design phase, you have to start worrying about quality all the way through the end, and never let it go. And your quality assurance people, if you have them, should be part of this process from the very, very, very beginning, not at the end. I've been on far too many projects where they don't bring the quality assurance people on until the very end, and then that just throws a wrench into the entire thing. And then, you know, uh, releases get delayed, and we don't want that. So we have to be thinking about this all the time. And so, a while ago, I came up with a saying, which is on this slide right here, where we have to demand quality in the apps you use, and that's something that I do. If you follow me on Twitter, you know that I complain about apps all the time, and that's my way of telling companies, "Hey, there's something wrong. Go fix it." Because going through their tech support, if it even exists, I just think that's a big black hole. So I use Twitter because more times than not, they actually respond. And so, so demand the quality of the apps you use. Tell them what's wrong. Use Twitter, use their tech support if you want to. Tell them there's something wrong, because if you don't, it's not going to be fixed, right? So make sure you demand quality. And if they don't fix it, find a different app. There's lots of different ways of doing things, except for the social media companies. And you also need to demand quality in the apps you write. And that's something that I focus on 110% of the time that I'm writing code. And before I'm writing code, is I'm always thinking about quality. I always make sure I have those things at the very, very start of the project, so I don't introduce any issues. And, one of my goals, is make sure there's no errors and there's no warnings, when I commit code, right? The information stuff can be fixed if maybe, but the errors and warnings I always fix. And if you look at any of my open source stuff, you can see that. So, and then demand quality in yourself. We have to demand quality. We have to seek out, quality. We have to learn about quality, going to websites, going to my website, .NETtips.com, using Copilot, which Joe and I were just talking about before the conference starts. There's lots of different ways to help you do this, but like with most things, you need to want to do it. It's got to be a passion of yours. Maybe not as big a passion as mine, but it's got to be a passion of yours. So make sure you do these three things: demand quality in the apps you use, in the apps you write, and demand quality in yourself. And if you do those three things, I think all of our software will be a lot better.